Welcome to the Rice Coconut Life podcast. I'm Takhou.
I'm Trey.
I thought your name was Trey, bro.
Oh, my bad. Trey. So, it's been about, would you say, 8 years in the making?
It's been 8 years in the making. Yeah, we were really young and we're like, oh, we're going to make a podcast 8 years ago. A bit of procrastination between now and then.
You know, I always wanted to be in the media industry, and I think you've always had a knack for speaking, so it always has really been in the making, if you really think about it. But,
yeah, since sperm days.
yeah. Since we were in the nutsack. Oh. This really is a shit show, G. Anyway, so basically we've always both had a pretty good interest in fighting, right? Would you say so?
Yeah, for me it started out when I was in school. I was like a little dude who was not very confident, and I think to prove myself I always thought if I can fight bigger dudes then I'd be able to, prove myself. So I used to try to fight people. If you know me from intermediate and stuff, I used to try to scrap dudes. They were always bigger, but that was the whole point.
I didn't really try and pick any fights back in high school, but I didn't really need to because I got into fighting pretty early on. From about intermediate age, my dad taught me from when I was about 5 years old, taking me on the pads every day, every second day. I lost my first fight, got the crap beaten out of me by this Australian fighter, and then my dad said, you know what, I need to give you some of my own knowledge, because at that point I was only getting knowledge from a few of my other coaches, but my dad is really the one that taught me everything I know. Anyway, long story short, he started these trainings in the morning, got some other boys around from his work site, and yeah, we just started doing trainings at about 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd run a few laps around the area, come to the training, do a bit of sparring, and it really helped me progress and get to the next level, So, and that's where I met Takhou. He was one of the cheeky little buggers that came along and wanted to throw hands.
Yeah, that's where I met Trey. I remember some of those morning sparring, actually. There was a few bigger boys there, and I remember we were on this wooden stage, and I used to get hit so hard by some of these guys because they weren't really really doing proper boxing, so they were a bit ruthless. They didn't really know what kind of power they had. I remember almost getting knocked off the stage. But Trey, it was awesome meeting Trey at the time and seeing obviously what his dad had taught him. He had a lot of skills and he was kicking most people's asses, to be honest. And yeah, it was a great time meeting Trey, and I thought he was a cool kid. And then we didn't link up until maybe 4 years ago. I was like, do you want to go study? And then what do we do, bro?
As you do, sitting there in between study breaks, just jam a bit of Fortnite, pull out the laptops, get on the browser.
Yeah, we're playing Fortnite in this very studio space that we're in, and we were just chilling out. And then there was one day where there was some protests in New Zealand, Auckland, and then I decided to call Trey, and then from there we ended up at this protest event and filming our first video. Trey had just bought this wireless mic setup, which you'll see in a lot of our YouTube videos. And that first video, how did it go? Once we got back, we were like, this is sick. We got some mean footage. How did it go from there?
The really crazy thing is that actually we ran into Guy Williams on that day, and we were like, crap, we got Guy Williams on the mic spitting all the stuff about the protest and why he was there. And then we took it home, looked at it, and there was no audio. All this footage, about 10 interviews, and no audio. So all we had was the rough cut footage, and I had to kind of utilize it to the best of my ability, turned it into a bit of a montage.
You can find that on our Instagram. Yeah, we got back and we were like, what the flip, there's no audio, but you got to make the most of it, right? But after that, we actually end up at this round 2 of this protest, and we came back swinging because we thought we got to make a good video now. You can actually find that video. It's our first YouTube video out there. And yeah, Trey ended up buying a drone and really going for it. And
Mavic Pro.
Yeah, Mavic Pro plug. So he was flying that drone actually, and I was looking out like, oh, this is real exciting, see him fly the drone. And these protesters are walking down the street, and suddenly this drone just comes flying out of the air and almost clipping this dude in the head. Or it could have been a chick.
Go and watch the video. It's actually pretty funny. We include it in the blooper reel at the very end of the video. But yeah, I had some people come up to me afterwards, during the protest, and I was getting some mean footage, and they were saying, "Please, can I have your footage?" And we're like, "Hell no, man! This is Rice Coconut Life exclusive, you know." Yeah. Can't get that stuff for free.
Yeah, that was awesome making that video the second time around. We definitely got it right. And that drone footage, honestly, if you guys check that out, not so much the blooper one, is that is fun, but the actual drone footage from down the bottom of Queen Street towards Britomart is pretty insane. Like, I don't think there's been anything like that on that street before, and I don't know if there may ever will be. It was actually really incredible.
Well, the best thing about that footage is that you're on the ground taking footage of people dancing, and I had the drone up in the air getting a wide angle of the people on the truck dancing in front of like the massive ass crowd that stretched all the way back to Britomart.
On the ground, it was pretty incredible. Like, I've never felt a vibe like that, especially when people are protesting, saying like it was like a dance party. It felt like it was some sort of, I don't know, like 90s or 80s revolution type vibe. And it was like some older school hip hop, and it was cool. It was really cool. Yeah. That Testa video, what was your question there again?
Where did that video end up?
So, unofficially, officially, you could say we have almost 100,000 viewed video out there. These people stole the video, posted it on Twitter and LinkedIn, and they got like individually like 16,000, and someone else got like 80, 70,000 views. And they didn't even plug us. And the funny thing is, because I'm obviously Asian, as you see, and there's a Tesla logo at the start, they actually said, "Oh, this is a Tesla China video." Like, come on, guys.
Come on.
Yeah, so from there, actually, randomly, we decided to go to a comedy night, and the MC asked Trey and I, how do you guys know each other? And we know each other from boxing, as we said before. And this MC looks at us and says, was it Thai boxing? She looks at me, obviously, specifically because I'm Asian. And then I was like, whoa, why does it have to be Thai boxing? And the whole room erupted. From that night, we thought, we saw some acts and there was some interesting stuff, but we thought we could give it a shot as well. And we decided, we gave ourselves a 2-week time frame to get on stage, and we wrote some jokes. We wrote some jokes. I think a lot of our content changed getting closer to the night. But yeah, we had an awesome time going out and performing, and honestly, it's really nerve-wracking.
Well, the thing is that actually I've been in some pretty high pressure fights. Like, I won 2 nationals. So like I've been at that top level, at least in New Zealand, and getting ready to go in front of a comedy crowd, not knowing whether you're going to bomb or not, whether people are going to laugh. It's actually pretty nerve-wracking. Like, in boxing, all you're focused on is your skills, and you know that in your heart, like, I've got the skills to beat this guy. But going out into a comedy scene, like, it's pretty subjective at the end of the day. You don't know whether the people in the crowd are going to find you funny or not. So it's really, like, a lot of it rests upon the crowd.
Since then, I've decided to continue doing comedy, and Trey's dropped a little bit here and there.
I might be coming back, so look out for that. Because, the reason why I took a little bit of a hiatus out of the comedy scene is because I've been trying to get my real estate license all sorted, getting into a branch and all that. But I think now that I've kind of found my feet in that industry, I think I'll hop back on the stage, because I think comedy really teaches you to think on your feet. So if I can adapt that and learn to think in that mindset, to think on my feet all the time, will really help me in the industry. So yeah.
I think that's a really good point. Like, you've got to be present in what you're doing, especially with comedy. Like, you want to be seeing what's going on and feeling it out and addressing different situations. And, if there's opportunities to, create a joke or a gag in the moment, then it's definitely something you should take. And I think that that's actually a really relevant point for life in general. Anything is, I saw this podcast and he talked about how Michael Jordan was in this documentary, I think it was the Last Dance one, how Michael Jordan's flipping pennies before one of the biggest games in history. He's just flipping pennies with his mate, like literally flipping coins, right? And you might look at that and be like, what the heck is he doing? Is he not taking it seriously? No, what he's doing is he's present in the moment, enjoying flipping pennies with his mate. he's in such a good, strong state of mind, and he's so present that he's able to just enjoy and embrace what's going on. He's fully immersed in the flipping of pennies, and the moth just hit me in the face. Lucky I got a good chin, it didn't knock me out.
Great documentary.
Oh, you see that?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's another reason is because he's just so ultra competitive. He bets on the smallest things, like even the penny tossing, seeing who can throw it from a distance and get it closest to the wall without hitting the wall. And it's pretty interesting, but yeah, I guess it's something to think about. You can turn anything in life into a competition if you're that kind of person. I think that us two are quite competitive individuals. It's led to some interesting experiences for sure. But yeah, I think that really it's a good thing though at the end of the day, because it drives us to, you know, do the best we possibly can in this, but also in our lives outside of this. So.
Yeah, 100%. A bit like that scooter race we had in Wellington.
Yeah.
Check that out on our Instagram, guys, if you want to see it.
Ultra competitive.
Yeah, I mean, when we say competitive, obviously there's not much context there. What happened is we started this race on scooters, and I had these crutches at the time, and Trey gave me a 10-second head start, and we started boosting it. So it was a good, even playing field to start with. And then I was like, damn, these crutches, like, they're going to get in my way if I'm on the footpath. So I was like, if I'm going to have any chance of winning this race, I'm going to have to get my ass on the streets. So this is, we were in Wellington on the road, main roads there around, you know, Courtney Place and stuff like that. There's a lot of cars, and we just hopped on and we just started gassing it down the street. And then, yeah, the rest is history.
That was some crazy stuff, man. Like this bus almost pulled out in front of us as well.
This is quite funny. So the very phone or device we're recording with, because it's obviously a professional podcast, was actually lost. It was actually Trey's phone. Was lost when we were in Wellington, and we'd actually he dropped it outside KFC, and we went up this mountain on the tram. If you guys are aware of that, it's a red tram, and up there we were about to take a photo, and I was like, I think we were like, oh Trey, you should get a photo on your phone as well. And he was like, oh damn, where's my phone? And we called this dude, and I asked him, you know, can we get the phone back? And he's like, yeah, you can get the phone back. I've been holding it onto it for you. And we're like, sweet, let's boost back there and get the phone. What happened from there, man?
So there was a few complications, to say the least. Back and forth about, I'd say 7 times, and he wouldn't pick up. And yeah, he finally picks up. Takhou goes, no, like, can we please get the phone back? And he's like, oh, is there money reward? We're just like, oh crap, like here we go. No one can do anything good these days for free. But yeah, anyway, long story short, Takhou ended up giving me his phone. I ended up boosting on a scooter down the main road again, and then ended up giving him $20, you know, so $20 for a $1,000 iPhone isn't that bad of a deal at the end of the day, I guess.
Yeah, if you're watching this, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the $20. Hope it took you far, my man.
Hope you bought some good KFC with that money.
Yeah. Went back and found another phone, eh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, besides that, we've had some cool experiences. We've done a episode with David Tour. Tell us about that experience. What did you think of that?
Well, you know, since I was really young, David Tour has always been one of my massive idols. Looking at him as a New Zealander, but also as a Samoan, you know. I'm half Samoan, you know, at the end of the day. But anyway, yeah. I only just found out recently, like a year ago, that my dad used to spar against him and his brother back in Otara, like ages ago when they were growing up as teenagers. And it was quite interesting because my dad had quite a few interesting stories. He said that David Tour was never actually the most impressive in the gym. It was actually David Tour's brother, Andrew Tour. And he said that he gave him quite a few good concussions back in the day. But yeah, he said that Tour just always had that drive. His dad had him running 10 kilometers after winning his fights, which just, you know, goes to show what champions do to get to that next level, I guess. But anyway, so my dad put me in touch with David Tour a year ago because I was doing communications at university, and I had to do an article each week. And my dad said, oh, I can set this up for you. So I got the great opportunity of going to talk to David Tour for one of my articles for university. And then, you know, a year later, here we are, we've started the podcast. And I thought, you know, let's get him on again. And I think the great thing is that doing that hour interview with him last year, I'd already kind of found all the most interesting stories that he had to share, and all I had to do was just hint towards those, and he came up with some great stories. You know, there's a great swimming story coming out soon. The podcast is coming up soon. But what was your favorite part of the interview?
Honestly, I think my favorite part is that, like you said, he is like a New Zealand hero. I don't think very few people in New Zealand don't know who he is and know his story, and obviously he's gone to incredible heights. But I think also the fact that he's such an articulate, sharp person, like, there is genuine wisdom that can be drawn from the podcast, and he is someone who has a lot to offer, I think, in terms of his understanding of the world and also his boxing knowledge and career. So yeah, it was very exciting talking to him. I think I still don't realize how much of a privilege it is, because obviously you got the connection with your dad. It was quite easy for us to secure that, but yeah, I don't think it's something to take lightly, to be honest.
Yeah, we also had a great interview with Dan Hooker, which is another popular sportsman in New Zealand.
Yeah. So how did we how we actually ended up getting that podcast originally was Dan did this trial where he ran a whole bunch of people could submit and apply for this program or a trial day where they can train, and if they get through, then they get to train with Dan for a full year. So Trey and I actually signed up to this, and we trained and we did this session for 8 hours where we went through all these grueling activities, from sprints to more running to fitness testing and even wrestling. That was quite a hardcore component. Like
wrestling, man.
Yeah, wrestling is pretty hardcore. And the guy who won, shout out Jack if you're watching this, is the man. I was wrestling alongside him, and he was smoking me. Like, I've never really been close to the point of breaking, but that dude almost broke me. And yeah, it was a good lesson to learn. And from there, because we gave Dan that 8 hours, he was like, yeah, I'm keen to do a podcast with you guys. And then from there, how do we end up landing the podcast, Trey? Bit of persistence?
Bit of persistence, man, to say the least. We drove out, so his gym is quite a distance away from, where we live. But yeah, we drove out about 4 times back and forth. The first 3 times we went there and he wasn't there. And so we had to come back. And then finally we go the 4th time, and then we finally get to catch up with him, and then we're like, oh, yo, like, we finally caught you. Would you be keen to do the podcast? What do you say, Takhou?
Yeah, he was exceptionally keen. Like, shout out Dan if you're watching this as well, and shout out Dan Hooker in general. If you guys want to check out his stuff, he's an awesome MMA fighter. But he was super keen. Like, he was like, okay, and then I'm keen to do the podcast, and I was like, well, let's tee it up right now. And that very Sunday, we actually teed it up, and he was so keen that he came out to us, to this studio space that you'll see this same piece of art in that podcast episode, is that, yeah, he just was really down to come through, and it was amazing. Like, super down to earth, incredible guy. And in that episode, we cover all sorts of content, and it was honestly an amazing time hearing his story. And it's amazing to see champion he's a champion in New Zealand. He's won a few things here, and he's on the way towards a possible championship in the UFC. To be such a down-to-earth guy and really, just share all sorts of different stuff with us. I really enjoyed that opportunity. It was amazing.
We have quite a few interesting, I'd say, pieces of content coming out soon as well. Do we want to spoil anything or not?
Well, let's just say that a dice gets rolled and then someone gets punched, and Dan Hooker's throwing the punch.
Yeah.
We can. I think that will.
And someone ends up curled over.
Curled over, struggling, fighting for their dear life. I'm joking, it's not that bad.
If you've looked at our Instagram, we have a 10-second challenge on there, and yeah, it was sort of a carry on from that, but obviously going up against the UFC contender. It's a whole nother ball game at the end of the day. So,
yeah. From there, we've had all sorts of things happen on the way to actually getting those mics and getting the podcast going. Like, that took a while to get hold of these mics with COVID and all that. But sometimes you need a little bit of persistence to beat the resistance. What would you like to talk about, Trey? Go for it.
What would I like to talk about? Well,
ask me anything. AMA, bro.
Here we go then. Takhou. What was your perception of me and my dad when we first met?
honestly, my perception of your dad was that he was just a really, really extremely generous guy, genuinely caring, and his approach to coaching and answering questions and just, yeah, everything he was doing was really slick. I think clearly his knowledge and depth and understanding of boxing is incredible, and that shined through every session we'd do and what we were doing. It was amazing, and I just thought, wow, this person's offering up their time at 5:30 in the morning to train us day on day. It was Monday, Wednesday, Friday at that point for like years almost, really.
For free as well.
Yeah, for free. It was really incredible. And my impression of you, honestly, you were just a quiet kid that was really good at boxing. So I thought, wow, this guy's really good at boxing. It's impressive. Yeah. He works hard. He likes to run and likes to punch things. The man.
Little Manny Pacquiao with my Manny Pacquiao shirt on.
Yeah. What was your impression when you first met me and I was doing whatever I was doing?
I honestly can't remember that much, but I'll tell you one story.
This involved Pua?
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Pua Magasiva.
Yeah. One day he came along to training, just another day. But he brought along some news from Shortland Street, and he said, look, I've got a bullying page that we're starting up, Shortland Street, And Takhou goes, oh, so who are we bullying? Pua's face just turns at you. He's just like, you just turn a serious situation into just a mockery. It was funny though. It was hilarious in the moment. I think, yeah, that's the perception I've always had of you. It was just like a happy-go-lucky that dude that's just, willing to put his hand up for everything. I think that's the same mentality you've brought towards comedy.
So since obviously our initial time in boxing, we were actually both in school at that time. I was near the end of my time in school. What have you done since school to the point where we linked up again, which was only a few years ago? Like, what are the highlights, would you say?
I call that the dark age. From the time that I finished high school, in my final year of high school, I broke my back. And then, so I've been boxing since I was 14 years old. So that was a good 4 years in the game. As I said, I managed to do all right. And then I was hoping to take it overseas, because I was getting to that level. And then all of a sudden, running the Kennedy Park stairs that we've done a few times as well. It's on our Instagram, I think. And yeah, just overdid it. Pulled a ligament, popped a disc, fractured my spine. The trifecta. and I had to, and then yeah. Then I went to chiropractor, I think, and he had a look at the X-ray and he said, "Nah, your career's over. Like no more boxing for you." And it was quite hard to take, but so I had to give it up. And then it was kind of a tricky period in my life. I moved on to do communications. Managed to get in some spots like Magic Talk, News Talk ZB, but COVID hit. Took my job just like a lot of other people's, and now I've progressed into doing real estate. Yeah. So what did you do in that period from the last time we met when we were playing Fortnite to now?
Yeah, so a lot happened from then. I ended up finishing a business degree at the University of Auckland. Obviously that's a pretty good university in New Zealand. And yeah, I didn't really know what I was going to do. So after that, I ended up picking up rocks. For real, like this isn't a joke. If you go on Instagram, you can find a random photo of it actually if you scroll back. But I was picking up rocks in a paddock, literally. And I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I've got a degree. I need to figure out what I want to do. And I started to realize that I like construction. So I ended up getting a good construction job offer and a business related one. And I was like, I'm going to take the risks and go into construction. And since then, I've been doing what's called quantity surveying. I've studied additionally at another institute and gained a qualification. And yeah, it's been an awesome time progressing on my career, but it's definitely a challenge. If you guys are out there trying to figure out what you want to do with your life and your career and job and stuff, then check out our YouTube video called "Is University Worth It?" Because that video is actually our most viewed video for whatever reason.
Most liked as well by quite a bit, to be honest.
Most viewed, most liked, and Yeah.
You've got a quite interesting story that happened after the video, right?
Yeah, we posted that video, and someone at my place of work actually, they ended up showing it to their kid, because I was like real hyped at the time. I was like, guys, you gotta watch this video, like show your kid. And then this person showed their son, and it was awesome. He ended up really enjoying the video and actually asked to meet up with me and have dinner with me. And it was a privilege to go over to their house and have dinner with him and just chat with him. And he seemed to be quite inspired by the video and also some of the ideas I was sharing with him, which is really a privilege, because I think that as people, we should always want to help others to be better than we are. And if we can share ideas and thoughts and concepts that can really help someone to think differently and be different, then we should. And that was an opportunity to do that. And yeah, it was quite amazing.
I think that, that's a great mentality to have, because we actually interviewed David Tour, and that's one of his top sayings that he remembers from growing up. His dad always telling him, don't be like me, be better than me. And that's the philosophy that he's brought into his gym, and he's created a great culture of fighters, because even though he achieved so much in his career, he's willing to put, that all aside and focus fully on his fighters and deliver them, 40 years of experience. And he's got quite an interesting philosophy. You have to listen to the full podcast to hear that. But yeah,
that's going to be out Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Android, all the platforms. It's going to be out sometime after this actually, because that's part of how we planned it. Yeah, what are you excited for in 2021, man? Obviously 2020 has been quite interesting for some people. What are you hyped about for 2021?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say, if you're looking for a property, I'm always a phone call away. Yeah, so I'm getting into real estate, obviously, as I've said twice now. I'm starting with a great team. Bronwyn Ashdown, she's over in Beach Haven. She's taken the time to fully lay out a succinct plan for me to follow in order to get into the real estate game and fully succeed, because she's told me that she has all these salespeople that are quite successful at the moment, about 4 of them, and she said that I can spend 6 months just learning from them on a sort of associate wage. Whereas I've gone to other real estate branches and they've said, we're just going to put you out there in the field. If you float, you float. If you sink, you sink. We're going to give you 6 months, the same 6 months, but if you don't succeed and sell a bunch of houses within that time, then, we're going to get rid of you. Send you home, pack your bags, go find another career. But, Bronwyn's really taken the time to listen to me, understand the person that I am, know that I'm not fully ready to go out there and, start selling houses straight away. But after I learn from some of these guys that have been in the game for 5 to 10 years, I think I'll be fully, prepared and keen to get to it. What are you most interested for 2021?
I'll get into that, but what you're talking about I think is really interesting is you guys, if you're working or whatever you're doing, you always gotta want to find the people that really want to work with you and take care of you, because in every situation where there's someone toxic or you're working with someone who's not great to work with, there's definitely great people out there that are looking for people like you to work with. You just need to find them. Like, don't ever give up hope or be disheartened by negative situations and bad people. Don't let them break you down and take away that optimism and positivity. 2021, I'm excited to do more and more comedy. Obviously, continue with the podcast. And 2021, at the start of the year, I'll be doing 102K ultra marathon. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. That is going to be interesting. I've spent 4 weeks on crutches like a few weeks back, so it's interesting with my foot having been fractured at that time. Slowly recovering towards doing that will be interesting. And then 2021, what else will be? I mean, the possibilities are endless as we keep progressing what we're doing. I think we'll make some awesome different video content ideas. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. And yeah, what else is there?
Yeah, if you guys have any guests that you want us to have on, any specific New Zealanders, would love to hear suggestions, for real.
Yeah, if you guys ever want to get in touch with either of us or the Rice Coconut account, we're more than open to chat with you guys. And this is a show where we want you guys to be a part of it as well. This isn't just a show of us to you. this is a show that we can build together, and we'd love to have you.
High tide raises all ships, right?
Yeah, a high tide raises all ships.
That's the goal, really. It's to put New Zealand on the map, even more.
We also want to share anyone with an incredible story, or you have something amazing to say. If you might not be the most famous person, we've had some high profile guests like David Tour and Dan Hooker so far, and I'm sure we'll have more. We're still open to share your story, because at the end of the day, a conversation and depth of knowledge and understanding and what you have to share isn't reliant on how famous you are, how many followers you have. We're starting out with only a handful of followers, but everyone's going to start somewhere, and if you guys have something to share, we'd love to share it.
Yeah. Also, if you're a musician or you can do any live acts, we'd love to have you on, because we're trying to create some special content as well, not only the podcast type stuff, but to have someone on footage, put on the channel that can do some kind of special act, we'd love to showcase you.
Special acts, bro. Put a disclaimer on that. It's gonna be legal.
Not those kind of acts.
It's gonna be PG, and it's gonna be able to go on YouTube, guys.
So obviously you're into boxing. You've always been into boxing.
Yeah.
Where are you looking to take that, if anywhere?
I think for me, I just want to continue to build my skills. Like, I think there's a few things that I can do in boxing well, but overall my boxing ability can be improved a lot, and there's a lot to work on. So I just want to enjoy that process. Like, I think something that I realized with boxing, because before boxing I never really had any skill that I would say I've tried to learn over an extended period of time. Like, my boxing is not great, but I've kept at it for many different years, and it's shown me what you can achieve when you slowly chip away at something. And yeah, I just want to keep embracing that. I think martial arts is a lifestyle. The training, the discipline, and the skills you learn is relevant to all areas of life, and it's a really fun journey. And I encourage you guys, if you guys have never tried a martial art and you're sitting on your ass and you're not doing much, go to a boxing gym, go to an MMA gym. It's not as intimidating as you think. You might have watched too many movies if you think that it's going to be like some Cobra Kai stuff, or I don't know what it's like just get out there and give it a crack.
Cobra Kai, man, that's some good stuff.
Yeah. What do you want to do in terms of, obviously you got a fighting background, you've done boxing extensively, and you've had a great amateur career, I would say. What do you think about the future of your martial arts in general, in terms of the lifestyle of it, as well as if you'd fight or consider any other martial arts like mixed martial arts?
Yeah, well, I have considered mixed martial arts recently. I went along to a gym that teaches martial arts, and I enjoyed learning different principles. I've only done it for a couple of weeks, but throwing kicks, throwing some elbows, grappling, all that kind of stuff is pretty far outside the box of boxing realms, really. The thing is that I don't think, like, the coach, when I went there, obviously I have some boxing ability, as you said, but he told me if you keep coming, I'll make you a champion. And to a lot of people, that that might sound appealing, It definitely would have sounded appealing to me, when I was doing boxing back in the day. If someone came up to me and said, "I'll make you a champion," and then I ended up becoming a national champion. But that's besides the point, But in my mind, I just remembered back to my boxing days, waking up at 5 o'clock every morning, running those 8K every morning. These are the stuff behind the curtains that a lot of people don't see. That's the stuff that the elite sportsmen talk about when they say, "You don't know how many hours I've put in behind the scenes to get to this point." Yeah, so when I heard that, I don't think I want to do any fights, I don't really, that aspiration for me is, not really there to become a champion and fulfill what he was promising me. So yeah, I've considered some other types of fitness as well. I've recently been going to some CrossFit classes, and they incorporate a bit of boxing, bit of jumping rope, bit of all of the above. If you've seen the CrossFit games, then you know what I'm talking about. They kind of incorporate a lot of principles from a lot of different areas of life, and I think that's more appealing to me at the moment, is just to get back to my fitness, because I've lost it quite a lot. Like, I'm not the fit person that I used to be. I mean, I can barely run 10K without dying, you know? This guy's over here is running 102 kilometers next year. I can barely think about running 5K down the road, you know? So, but yeah, no, I think that's my main aspiration at the moment, is just to get my fitness back up to a healthy level. I mean, I'm healthy right now, but just to a good level where I just feel good. And, you know, because obviously your body feels good, your mind feels good, you go into life feeling good every day. I think that's something that you talk about a lot as well, right?
I feel good. Yeah, definitely. I think that's very true. Like, you definitely got to take care of yourself. You got to feel good. What has that work ethic, you know, what you put yourself through to become a 2-time national champion? Obviously, not every single person out there has done that. They might have the will maybe inside them, but they might have never discovered it. What do you think it taught you in terms of realizing that you can push yourself to that point and you can become a champion twice, not just once? Like McGregor says, double champ.
Dan Hooker said something that was really stood true with me, and I think a lot of people will, when they see the podcast. He said that people aren't unmotivated, they're just uninspired. And, you know, boxing was a part of my life where I felt inspired to get to those national titles. And that's why I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's why I did all this training, because I wanted to get to that goal. And then as soon as I broke my back, it was kind of over. And it's pretty hard to get that motivation back. But the thing is, as you're saying, was how has fitness served in my life. I think that having that goal, you have to find the goal that you really want to achieve. Whether it be running 102K, whether it be doing something. Because when I lost that goal and I broke my back, it was some pretty dark times. Like, I had no aspiration really in terms of anything outside of I want to get my degree. And that wasn't really a strong enough motivator for me to be like, oh, I'm loving life right now. Like, that's the point that you really want to be at, to have a happy life at the end of the day. So yeah, I've really found you've really helped me refinding my love for getting into fitness. Because for a year, I was lying on the couch because I couldn't move, because my back had been broken and I had to heal. But after that, it was just mainly like, oh, I can't be bothered. Like, what's the point? I'm not ever going to be a champion again. I'm not ever going to do this again. This year was the first time I've done pads in 4 years. And that's really inspired me to take care of myself again, and to realize that the goal doesn't have to be something so extreme as becoming national something, national this, or any type of, you know, champion. It can be as simple as, you know, increasing your fitness every day. You know, finding just a little goal. Like, today I ran 5 kilometers, tomorrow I run 6. Just something as small as that to keep your motivation, you know, alive.
That's really important. Like, you guys should, or for me at least, I've discovered, yeah, it's those small steps. Like, it's important to take care of yourself. And like you were in your, you know, your glory days when you were a 2-time national champ, I think we often think back to, oh, I was this and I was that, but it doesn't matter what you were before. It doesn't matter what you were doing in the past. What matters is right now, because that's all we have, right? We only have this moment. We only have this body and this way of thinking that we have, and what we're doing. These habits that we have now are all that matter. And I think, yeah, it's important to slowly chip away at that, and that's something I'm still working on for sure in fitness as well.
Who would be your goal guest to get on the podcast, and why?
I think it would be incredible to get Israel Adesanya on. I've been following his journey for a long time, and, you know, I think he is a special guy, and he's doing some amazing stuff, and it would be really interesting to ask him about his life and his mindset and stuff outside of MMA. Obviously, a lot of people have documented and asked him about his fighting, and it's amazing. There's some great content out there. But yeah, I think he's got an interesting mindset, and he's done some amazing stuff, and yeah, I'd love to be able to chat with him. Who would your dream, or well, not dream, we don't have dreams around here, goal guest?
Goal. I really want to get Jimmy Jackson on.
Okay.
because he's a legend. But I reckon he's just Krakow, to be honest. But nah, my really goal guess would be, I think, KJ Upper, to be fair, because he's really, I don't know what he must have some kind of great motivation to hone his craft to the point where he can break into the American scene. I mean, a lot of it probably has to do with his good looks, to be fair, but but he's a good actor as well, and he's really gone where a lot of other Kiwis haven't before, breaking into the American scene, and now he's getting into the blockbusters. Who knows where he could be. He's still young as hell. Like, who knows where he could be in 10 years. He could be starring in, iconic movies that will be remembered for decades. So
yeah, I think that'd be really, really cool. And what's good?
What's poppin'? Brandon Whip just hopped in.
Yeah, Trey's gonna be dropping some raps next year, 2021, the year of his entry into the rap game. I was about to say return, but he never entered it in the first place.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my return to comedy, and it's gonna be spin a few bars.
Trey, who's your celebrity crush?
Well, it's actually no. I've always liked the Selena Gomez, Mila Kunis at her prime, Nina Dobrev, but who can look past, but a Julia Rose? She's popping off right now, and I cannot deny that she is one good-looking gal. So, what about you, bro?
I'm gonna switch it up. My answer would have to be Jessica Alba, because she is not only obviously a beautiful woman, but she is a great businesswoman and seems to, have a great family, and she encompasses, I think, the traits of a woman you'd want to keep around in your life, and I think that is possibly a good option, or is a good option as someone that...
She is smoking. I forgot about her. I love her as well. Jessica Alba. We love you.
What kind of show did this become, guys?
Alright, name one of the main people in your life that's kind of served as motivation.
Main people, honestly, if we're talking about main people in my life, I would honestly have to say my mom. Like, she has a relentless work ethic, and she has the kind of mindset where she doesn't have the most educated background ever, but she'll find a solution no matter what it takes, and she's so practical and gets so many things done. It's amazing. Like, I really love my mom, and she's, I think, taught me a lot. A lot of people like to teach things, in terms of saying things and this and that, but I think the best way that you can learn things and teach things early is to be a consistent example, and she 100% is that. Yeah. What about you?
What about outside of family?
Outside of family? Honestly, I think in recent times, I don't love everything this person's done, and I don't respect everything they've done, but I would say Conor McGregor has been a quite a big motivator in terms of some of the videos that I've watched from him. But actually, sorry, I'm gonna switch it up. When you have a thought and you're like, nah, there's a better thought. I'm gonna switch it up. The biggest motivator and biggest inspiration, I'm gonna have to shout out the Real AF podcast, Andy Frisella. He has definitely made the biggest impact on my life in terms of someone who is out there in the world and on the internet that I've never met. But honestly, I encourage you guys. I'm serious about this. I don't recommend things unless they're really good. His podcast, Real AF, is honestly a life-changing podcast. The content, the ideas, the value he offers about business, about life, about all sorts of different aspects is incredible. The level of detail he goes into, even about social media, is amazing. And yeah, he's really shaped the way I think and helped me to understand that. I think a lot of people think this, and I've thought this for a long time, is that I remember when I was a kid, I used to think, some magic's going to happen to me. I'm going to walk down the supermarket, and for some reason I used to think I was going to become an actor, that maybe I will still become an actor, but not this way that I thought I would. That I walk down the supermarket and some agent would cast me and think I'm the man, and my dreams would come true. And that's the kind of mindset where you think someone's going to give you permission and someone's going to make things happen for you and magic's going to happen. And that's just not how life is, Magic doesn't happen, and life doesn't happen, to you unless you make things happen. Like, a lot of the stuff we've done, it's been in a short time frame, but we've made it happen. We've willed it, we've believed it. Like, I believed that we were going to get MMA guys like Dan Hooker on the podcast long before it happened, and I thought, we can make it happen, and we did. it's all about taking responsibility. I think is something that I'm learning more and more. You know, I might be saying these things when I'm not perfect at it, but I'm working towards it. Is we've got to take responsibility. Like, if there's one thing I've realized, especially with COVID and whatnot, is, you know, you can use it. It's the easiest excuse of 2020. Oh, COVID screwed up my life. Oh, it took away this and that. Oh, wow. You know, yes, I'm sure some of you guys are going for even tougher stuff than we've experienced.
Yeah.
But you can't let it be an excuse. And the bigger the problem, the easier it is to make an excuse. But you've got to rise above it, because we're going to face problems every day. That's life. If you can't find solutions to problems all the time and keep doing that, you're going to struggle. That's just how things are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say is your biggest role model in your life and example outside of your dad, but also I guess you might want to talk about that as well?
Yeah. I'd say Ethan. No. No. I'd say, yeah, my family's really served as motivation. My mum and my dad, you know, both leading by example. I think I discussed it at the end of our university video, but yeah, just go watch that because I think I did a good enough job there. But yeah, yeah, they've always like led by example, you know. But outside of my family, and also my sister, like she just got Sportswoman of the Year, and we're gonna have her on the podcast. But she got Sportswoman of the Year, and she's got junior ducks before. She's got about 1,000 medals hanging up in the middle of our hallway. Every single time someone comes into our house, they're like, "Wow, Trey, like, whose are these?" And I'm like, my sister's, and I want to go like 2 medals to the side, but outside of, yeah, but she's always served as like that sibling rivalry, you know, is like great motivation for any sibling. Outside of my family, I'd have to say more recently, probably Ryan Serhant. You know, this guy is just on another level. He just started his own brokerage after only 10 or 11 years in the real estate industry in New York, the hardest place to make it. He said that 80,000 real estate agents sign up every year. 11,000 houses are sold. Do the math. 69,000 salespeople at least are not getting any revenue. But yeah, he just made his own brokerage, Serhant Brokerage, and he just signed a deal for $830 million skyscraper, which he's gonna sell. And yeah, he just got that deal first, like after 1 week of starting his brokerage. 11 years in the game is not long. You gotta remember, he was talking about how a lot of other real estate agents were waking up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and he said that just a simple thing, like it's always the simple things that matter. He just said, "Oh, I'm gonna wake up at 5 o'clock, get all my emails done and stuff like that before I start the day, get all the hard stuff out of the way," which what we were talking about before. Hard stuff isn't like the stuff that you don't want to do. You got to get this stuff out of the way, otherwise it's gonna egg you on, roll on until the next day, and the next minute you like got so many things on your hands you don't know what to do with yourself. That's how a lot of issues are created in life, I think. But he wants world domination, and he's not afraid to say it. Like, that kind of competitiveness, that kind of drive is just really inspiring to me.
What motivates you, Trey? Would you say you want to make money? You want to leave a legacy? What do you want to do with your life? And yeah, you said for a while when you were just in communication that didn't really light your fire, that wasn't propelling you forward. But what propels you forward, and what do you want to achieve in your future?
Honestly, I'm in a place still where I don't exactly know, you know, I'm still kind of young, so I don't fully know where I want my life to go from right now. Like, I'm only getting my feet settled in to real estate within the last week, so that's still, you know, new waters for me. It's really cheesy because a lot of people say it, but if I can have an effect on other people, you know, the same effect that's Ryan Serhant or Andy Frisella has had on you, Ryan Serhant on me, for other people to look up to you and be like, "Man, I want to do that. I want to have the same drive as that guy. I want to follow that mentality and allow it to create the same kind of success in my life. Yeah, as long as I can do that, I think I'll die happy. What about you?
Yeah, I think what you said there is a good point. It's about taking, I think, on a lot of different things and then making the most of it, because I think each of us, I believe, have a unique set of skills and unique opportunities. You know, no one is the same person as you are in the same place that you live, in the same environment, able to make the same impact and do the same things. And even obviously that impact can extend to the world if you're online. And I think for me, I'm motivated by honestly figuring out who I can be in terms of anything I'm doing. I want to be the best that I can possibly be at comedy, at investing, in my friendships, in my relationships, with my future family. I just want to be and find the best version of myself constantly. And I think in finding that, I've thought about this is what I want to put out there is I want to be free in all that I do. I want to be, and in being free, I think that's being the best that I can be. And I want to be free, and I want to set others free as well. I want to be able to help them to find that freedom and happiness, because if I can find that, and you know, people aren't all that different, then I think with that same sort of recipe, someone else can find that in themselves. I think, yeah, I want to teach people to be better than I am. And if I think obviously I need to achieve a certain level of success and build on who I am before I can do that. You know, a lot of people go and they want to teach people things and do this and that and be gurus, but they don't know jack shiz and they haven't done much with their life. And I think that, and I know that I can't do that because that doesn't align with my values and integrity. I can't just go and try to teach things that I've never done and don't believe in myself. And yeah, I think that's a big part. And I really know strongly that I want to, in the future, raise a great family. I think that's a huge achievement for any man, is to have a family that they take care of and a family that they can be proud of making an impact on, especially obviously in that children. Like, I think, yeah, it's a unique opportunity to be able to raise someone who's your own offspring and be able to teach them to be great, to be able to make them a lot better than you were, and to allow them to be able to make whatever impact they wish to on the world. I think that that's a big part of what I see in my future. And beyond that, I think also helping people. If you can have the resources, the opportunities and understanding to help people, I think that we're called to help others in whatever way and shape and form that might look in. I want to do that potentially. It could be mission related. People around the world, you know, live a whole lot different lives to us. If you're watching this YouTube video, probably in a pretty nice place in the Western world somewhere, but there's people living with all sorts of struggles that are pretty crazy.
Shout out to our African fans.
And shout out, if you're watching from Africa, you were the man. If you're watching from anywhere, actually, you're really cool. But especially if you're in a third world country, that is pretty dope. But yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for all of us in the world to help people. And yeah, it's just a matter of finding that opportunity and then making an impact.
Yeah, I definitely feel that having a family left that out. But I think my parents have always said that the main purpose that they've always felt in their life was to create their own family and to continue their own, line, I guess. Because if you don't have a family, then your line just ends. Like there's no more of your kind in the world. I guess put like that's kind of selfish, but like at the end of the day, to have someone in your own form and your own image on planet Earth, and to leave that behind and to know that they've done great in their own life and that they've potentially had their own children and then they've done great and then they've had their own children, they've done great, that would be awesome. Yeah,
I think it's actually really buzzy when you say it like that, is the fact that every single person alive right now watching this video, we've had so many generations before us that have gone through the itty bitty things that we've gone through. They've been in traffic, whatever that might have looked like in the past. They've had to, find jobs. They've had to hustle, grind. They might not have been the most successful Bill Gates individual, in terms of just financial status. I guess he's known as a rich guy. But they made it through so many challenges and so many generations collectively compounded to lead to us being able to live on this earth and being able to continue that journey. I think it's pretty amazing. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, but like in that, they kind of put it in a way where you can kind of think about it as the Avatar has all these previous avatars that have led to their knowledge, and they can draw on that wisdom. And it's not like we have any spiritual link to our, or maybe we do, but it's not like we have a direct spiritual link to our ancestors and whatnot. But I mean, their blood flows through our blood, and all their challenge, all their success, all that's gone into their life has allowed us to be where we are, which is pretty incredible to think. Like, and then for us to be born and then to be alive and breathing, it's pretty amazing. I think when you really think about it, life is amazing. Like, there's a lot of beauty in life. Like, even the fact that we're fully working as a human, like how many impulses and whatnot have to be going right.
We're having an LSD trip right now.
No, this is an LSD trip. This is just what I've thought before, is that, you know, there's so many impulses even for us to be able to work and function properly, and for us to move, breathe, and like hear things and see things. It's pretty amazing. Like, life is incredible.
Do you follow much YouTube?
To be honest, in terms of random YouTubers that I watch, probably Rice comes probably the most that I've watched randomly. Like, his videos are pretty fun for a while. Some of his live streams, but YouTube wise, yeah, not like I like to watch. The way I like to watch YouTube videos is I like to find a topic that I'm specifically trying to learn about, and I'll fixate on that particular category or find the best videos in that. Like, an example would be when I started looking into Tesla and investing a bit in that. I found an incredible YouTube channel. Actually, I'd recommend checking it out for people. Go form your own opinion, because it's financial. Don't just trust other people. But Solving the Money Problem, shout out to your YouTube channel. That is an incredible YouTube channel about EVs, about Tesla, and it shares some really good points, I think. Yeah. What do you like in terms of YouTube? I know you've been watching some spicy stuff lately.
Oh, some spicy stuff, yeah. Oh, you could say that. Nah, I've been watching, the new content by Julia Rose. It's been alright. The shit show.
Did that rose bloom on you?
Yeah, I can say. You could say that, bro. You could say that. But yeah. Like, let's just be honest here. Like, there's some hot individuals on that show, and they're talking about some taboo topics that a lot of, like, you won't find many chicks talking about those kind of things, and it's kind of interesting, to get that perspective. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Also, I like to watch Brian Serhan. Again, has his own YouTube channel. He just debuted his $830 million property. I just like seeing people like him, even the creators like PewDiePie. I like some of his more serious videos where he does book reviews and all that kind of stuff, or has sit downs with his audience and he just talks to them about his journey. Other creators as well. I like that story of people that are at the top and creating, that legacy for themselves, and also creating a pathway for others to follow and to learn from. They've obviously had their ups and downs, and to be able to share the pitfalls that they've had and allowing other people to learn from that, it's really important for others. So I really appreciate content like that.
Okay, so I think we're going to wrap it up there. Yeah. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode. If you enjoyed it, please share it with a friend. Do you have any closing thoughts? I'll let you close, Trey.
Well, yeah. Come to Takhou's Comedy. Come to my real estate branch. Yeah. Give us both a phone call if you want to. And closing out,
Yeah. Woo!